Today's lesson is called Smartphones May Be Causing Depression, Suicide Among Teens. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
And I am Roger. Today we're going to talk about, well, those devices that just don't seem to go away, those smartphones. And, of course, everybody pulls out their smartphones every day at all hours of the day because there's nothing else to do and we're all addicted to them. Why not? What the heck? You know, they're fun. You can contact your friends. You can send each other stickers and stuff like that. But there are some people out there who seem to be saying that smartphones may be causing trouble. And today we're going to be talking about the fact that some people think they're causing depression and suicide among teenagers. How about that?
How about that indeed? Yes, today we're going to be reading from our news report. And yes, the title of this article, we should read it as though it were a news headline. Yes, smartphones may be causing depression, suicide among teens. Yes, smartphones might be causing these things, i.e. depression and then suicide among or amongst teens or teenagers. Now, when I read that title, okay, I did so with a lot of exuberance and energy, but this particular topic, it's not a happy topic. This is a very serious topic, so the next time I read this, I should probably be a little bit more somber in tone. I should probably say something like, smartphones may be causing depression, suicide among teens. There you go. I think I just struck the right somber tone there. And that means we can get started with our lesson. Yes, folks, let's go ahead and take a short break. But when we come back, we'll get started on our article on smartphones, the great evil of our times.
Smartphones may be causing depression, suicide among teens. Depression and suicide among teens have been on the rise over the past decade. And new research suggests the cause may be right in their hands, smartphones. A study of data on more than 500,000 U.S. teens found that adolescents who spend long hours on smartphones and social media are more likely to have feelings of hopelessness. Dr. Jean Twenge, lead author of the study, adds that suicide attempts also increase.
大家好，今天第一个单字我们看到的是 depression。这个字当作名词，它有忧郁症或是忧郁、抑郁的意思。例如 The artist, though fighting depression for most of his life, still created many brilliant works. 尽管大半生都在与忧郁症搏斗，这位艺术家仍创作出许多杰作。接下来我们看到的单字是 adolescent， 这个字当作名词，代表青少年的意思。所以我们可以说 Many bodily changes happen when a child becomes an adolescent. 从小孩变成青少年时，身体上会发生许多变化。
Okay, so I think we spent enough time talking about the title here, but we did not really define what the word depression is. That's a noun that just refers to a state or condition in the mind in which you kind of feel hopeless and desperate and you have thoughts of suicide and things like that. Depression could be part of everyday life. You might feel a little bit depressed, for example, if your pet hamster dies or if you lose a family member or something like that, or you don't pass a test and your parents give you a lot of trouble about that, or you lose your job, you get a flat tire in your car or something like that. All those things may cause depression, but it could also be clinical, in which it's a chronic condition, in which it needs to be checked out by a professional. Depression. But we are saying that smartphones may be causing depression amongst teenagers, and it also might be causing suicide, which is when you kill yourself.
There you go. That's what suicide is all about. Now, we all feel bad or low, or we might feel blue from time to time. That's totally normal. Yes, life swings from you feeling bad to feeling good and back again. That's just the way that life works. But depression, it's a situation in which your mood stays low for an extended period of time, and that becomes a problem for you. Yes, depression here is a mood disorder. It's a psychological condition. It's not a laughing matter. Yes, feeling bad, that's normal. Feeling bad for weeks and months at a time, that is a big problem. That is a medical condition that you need to go talk to someone about. Yes, if you're feeling depressed, if you think you might have depression, talk to a medical professional. Anyways, let's get started. Depression and suicide among teens have been on the rise over the past decade, and new research suggests the cause may be right in their hands. Smartphones. Yes, before the break there, during the introduction, I said that smartphones are the great evil of our times, and I wasn't really kidding. I'm not a fan of smartphones. Smartphones are incredibly useful. That much is for certain, but apparently depression and suicide are on the rise amongst teenagers, and some people think that smartphones are to blame. So, I wasn't kidding. Maybe smartphones really are the evil of our times, the great Satan of our times.
Maybe so, but of course this is going to be subject to debate. As you said, they are useful in a lot of ways, but like anything, they can be abused. So that first paragraph here pretty much introduces the topic to us. So let's move on now to the next part here. It says, a study of data on more than 500,000 U.S. teens found that adolescents who spend long hours on smartphones and social media are more likely to have feelings of hopelessness. So they've got some data here. They've got some information that they've collected through various interviews and things like that, or various sources, maybe some academic studies and stuff like that. So they've got all this data that has been collected concerning 500,000 United States teenagers. And so they put that data together and they found that adolescents who spend a lot of time on their smartphones and on social media are more likely to have feelings of hopelessness, which is basically the same thing as depression or similar to depression. Now, these are adolescents. An adolescent, of course, is a person who is making the transition from childhood to adulthood. It could be a teenager, somebody around the age of 15, 16, 17 or something like that. They're going through various changes in their lives, and because of these changes, they're quite vulnerable to some of these diseases. So I guess if they spend a lot of time on those smartphones, they might have some problems.
Yes, ADOLESCENT, adolescent. An adolescent is a person who is in their adolescence. So in our article, we have the word adolescence, but we're talking about a group or more than one adolescent, a group of these kids, okay, or more than one adolescent. Yeah, adolescence. But we also have the noun adolescence, referring to the period of time, okay, that a person spends as an adolescent. Yeah, adolescence, okay, or that period that known as adolescence, okay. Adolescence or the adolescent years are the years between a person's childhood and their adulthood. So, in this sentence, we have the word adolescence, ADOLESCENTS. Okay, don't confuse this word with the word adolescence, i.e. the word that's spelt ADOLESCENCE. In the sentence, we're talking about kids who are in their adolescent years. The period of time that you spend in those adolescent years is adolescence, okay? So the two words sound exactly the same, but they would be referring to two entirely different things.
So this is a conclusion from this data. Yes, adolescents who spend a lot of time on their smartphones and a lot of time using social media probably have more feelings of hopelessness than do other people. And we've got Dr. Jean Twenge, lead author of the study, and she adds that suicide attempts also increase. Again, this is based on the data, based on the information. So they're finding that, yes, teenagers, adolescents who spend a lot of time on those phones have feelings of hopelessness and succumb to thoughts of suicide from time to time. That does not sound very good. Okay, let's move on now to the next part of our lesson. We'll listen to it first.
Between 2007 and 2015, suicide rates for youth between the ages of 15 and 19 rose 31% for boys and more than 50% for girls, the same time period during which smartphones and social media became ubiquitous in society. Since these technologies have transformed the lives of teens, an obvious question is, are they responsible for teens' malaise?
Between 2007 and 2015, suicide rates for youth between the ages of 15 and 19 rose 31% for boys and more than 50% for girls, the same time period during which smartphones and social media became ubiquitous in society. So maybe smartphones alone aren't to blame. But if you were to put smartphones and then social media together, you would have that solution, that potent solution that might result in the rise in rates amongst teenagers as far as suicide is concerned, and that's not a good thing. Anyways, during this period of time that we're talking about here, it says that social media use and smartphone use both have become ubiquitous in society. But what does this mean? What does the word ubiquitous mean? The word ubiquitous, everyone, means everywhere and omnipresent. Okay, this word ubiquitous, it looks tough, it looks intimidating, but the meaning behind it is quite easy to understand. If something is ubiquitous, that thing is everywhere.
Like yellow taxis in Taipei, they are everywhere. They are ubiquitous. You can't walk down the street in Taipei without seeing 5 to 10 taxis within 100 feet of you. They are ubiquitous. So yes, indeed, they're talking about this interesting coincidence here. Suicide rates for boys and girls have gone up, and at the same time, smartphone usage has also increased. Is it a coincidence? I suppose we're going to try to find out if it's just a coincidence or if there is certainly a link between the two as our lesson continues here. But since these technologies have transformed the lives of teens, an obvious question is, are they responsible for teens' malaise? Interesting question there. That's basically the same question I just asked here. Malaise here just means the downfall of someone when something bad happens to someone, a general feeling of discomfort, illness, or uneasiness. And usually we don't really know why it's happening.
Yeah, malaise. It's a bad, low, kind of uneasy feeling, which is hard to account for. You feel bad, but you don't know why you feel that way. That's what malaise is all about. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up our article on smartphones and depression.
Several other studies have linked depression, loneliness, and anxiety to technology. This has largely been attributed to the fact that people typically only share positive and often embellished things on social media, which can make their friends and followers feel inadequate and flawed. Twenge's work confirms these findings. Twenge cautions that her research does not prove causality and that other factors may be at play. Still, she urges teens to use social media wisely. Interact with others, but avoid simply envying photos of friends' homes, vacations, and lives. In other words, be smart about smartphones.
第三部分我们看到的单字是 anxiety， 这个字当作名词，代表焦虑症或是焦虑不安的意思。例如 My anxiety makes it difficult for me to participate in social activities. 焦虑症使我很难融入社交活动。接下来我们看到的单字是 inadequate， 这个字当作形容词，它有不够好的或是不充足的、能力不够的意思。例如，对于繁忙的服装店来说，这些试衣间是不够的。英文可以这么说 These fitting rooms are inadequate for the busy fashion store. 再来我们看到的单字是 flawed， 这个字当作形容词，代表有缺点的、不完美的或是有瑕疵的意思。所以我们可以说Belle used flawed logic to make her argument. Belle 用错误的逻辑来论证。接下来我们看到的单字是 finding， 这个字当作名词，它有研究发现的意思。例如 Kevin 在等待听到实验的研究发现。英文可以这么说 Kevin is waiting to hear about the findings from the experiment. 今天最后一个单字我们看到的是 caution， 这个字当作动词，它有提醒或是告诫、警告的意思。所以我们可以说 Police cautioned women not to walk alone at night. 警察提醒女性晚上不要独自在外面行走。
Okay, let's take a look at the next part of our lesson here. It says several other studies have linked depression, loneliness, and anxiety to technology. So we've got some other research going on, some other studies, and they've made this connection. They've linked depression, they've linked loneliness, and they've linked anxiety to technology. In other words, these studies seem to conclude that depression, loneliness, and anxiety are always higher when there's some sort of technology involved. So we've got depression, we've talked about that. Loneliness, of course, means you don't really know other people, you don't have a lot of friends and stuff like that. And we're also talking about anxiety, which is basically a feeling of uneasiness, of worrying about things all the time, or you're very, very nervous. And it's usually about things that are happening in your life. Maybe you're worried about tests or something like that, or the pressure your teachers or your parents are putting you under. You're feeling a lot of anxiety.
Yes, if you're feeling anxiety, you are feeling extreme nervousness. You have a persistent feeling that something bad is going to happen to you in the future, even if there's no reason for you to feel this way, okay? Even though there's no evidence, let's say, or any proof that something bad might happen to you in the future, you still feel as though that thing is going to happen. That's what anxiety is all about. Anxiety, by the way, is a noun. The adjective form of this word would be anxious. A person with anxiety often feels anxious. Anyways, moving on, the next sentence says, this has largely been attributed to the fact that people typically only share positive and often embellished things on social media, which can make their friends and followers feel inadequate and flawed. So, folks, what you see on social media is very often not the real thing. But if you don't know this, you might think that other people are leading an amazing life and that your life in comparison is terrible, and that can make you feel bad. It can make you feel inadequate and flawed, that's for sure. Now, let's talk about these two words, inadequate and then the word flawed. First of all, if a person feels inadequate, they don't feel that they're good enough. They don't feel like they're up to something. They feel like they don't have what is needed or required given some situation. They just don't feel as good as other people, let's say. Yes, if these people are feeling inadequate, they don't feel as good as others. Further, these people not only feel inadequate, apparently they also feel flawed. Now, what does this word flawed mean? The word flawed means imperfect and error-filled and somehow damaged. But remember, folks, don't feel this way. When you're on social media, people aren't presenting themselves to you in the ways that they actually are. These people are embellishing things.
Basically, yes, if you take a look at a lot of Facebook posts, of course, people are basically bragging. They're only going to say things about themselves that make themselves look really superior or smarter than other people. They're never going to post things that say, look how stupid I am. Look at how many dumb places I've been to compared to my other friends. Nobody does that. Everybody wants to make themselves look really wonderful. So, of course, when you're other people seeing that kind of stuff and you can't match that or you can't top that, then, of course, you're going to feel inadequate, not enough, or flawed. There's something wrong with me. How come I can't have these nice exotic trips or take wonderful pictures of food and things like that? So again, we're talking about the connection between depression, loneliness, and anxiety to technology. They are related, and this has been attributed to the fact that people only share positive experiences on social media. So to attribute to just means that's the reason, okay? People are feeling these feelings of anxiety because people tend only to share those positive experiences, and they share embellished things. If you embellish something, that means you kind of add things to it to make it look even better. And that's kind of deceiving.
Yeah, if you embellish something, you make something look better on the surface, and that's that. But people don't need to feel inadequate. Remember, on social media, people are always embellishing things. They're making them look better than they actually are. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on. The next sentence says, Twenge's work confirms these findings. Now, we're almost through with our article. In fact, there's only one more paragraph left to go. But before we can start that paragraph, let's talk about this word word findings. In this case, a finding is something that has been discovered or found. Yes, here, this work has reached or made these conclusions. These are the findings.
Indeed. Now, moving on to the next paragraph, it says, Twenge cautions that her research does not prove causality and that other factors may be at play. So here she's cautioning us, she's warning us, yes, I've got this research and there does seem to be some kind of relationship between depression, loneliness, and anxiety to technology, but still this does not prove that this actually causes that. That's what causality means, causing something to happen. She says it doesn't necessarily prove that. I can't think of what else would cause that. Obviously, it's too much of a coincidence to conclude otherwise, but still, I cannot prove causality. It's still something that could be debated. Other research might be required, and she says that other factors may be at play. If something's at play, that just means they are involved. It could be something else causing this.
There you go. The research does not prove causalities, and other factors may be at play. That is, this research does not prove that there's a cause and effect relationship here. And further, there might be other factors at play, apparently. That is, other factors might exist and might act on things in such a way that they should be taken into account. So yeah, causality has not been established. Other things might explain these findings or this relationship. Still, she urges teens to use social media wisely, interact with others, but avoid simply envying photos of friends' homes, vacations, and lives. In other words, be smart about smartphones and smartphone usage. All right, folks, with that, our lesson is now complete, and it's time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天文法重点。在课文第3部分有一个句子是This has largely been attributed to the fact that people typically only share positive and often embellished things on social media. 这主要归咎于人们通常只在社群媒体上分享正面，而且通常是美化过的东西。我们来看一下动词 attribute 的用法，以及它的字首还有字根。好，我们先说它当名词呢是念作 attribute， 表示属性、特性或是特质。那在课文里面是当动词念作 attribute， 表示把什么归因于，把什么归咎于。常见的句型是 attribute something to 加上某人或某事物。例如 The tennis player attributed her success to her coach. 那一位网球选手把成功归因于他的教练。His doctor attributes his health problems to obesity. 他的医生把他的健康问题归咎于过胖、肥胖。好，那看完 attribute 的用法之后呢，我们接下来学它的字首字根。Tribute 本身是一个单字，它可以用来表达贡品啊、贡献或者是尊崇、敬意。那它当字根呢，可以有给予、分配的意思。至于前面的 at， 它是来自 ad 这个字首，表示朝向。当我们把功劳或过错给某人或某事物的时候，你就可以联想到它有归因于、归咎于的语义。好，那顺便把一些跟 tribute 这个字根有关的单字学起来，像 contribute 这个动词它是由 con 表示一起，然后 tribute 是给予贡献，把它合在一起，一起给一起贡献，那它就有捐助啊、做出贡献的意思。再来看 distribute dis 它的字首呢表示个别或是分开，那 tribute 表示分配，那你分配给个别每个人，那它就有分发分配的语义。好，还有一个比较难的单字是 retribution， 它是由字首 re 表示往回，然后搭配 tribute 这个字根，然后它表示分配啊或者是给予，再搭配名词字尾 ion 组合在一起。好，那这字很容易联想。我们说种什么因就得什么果，当你做什么不好的坏事，自然就会有不好的后果回报给你。好，回报给你，这样子就可以联想到 retribution， 它有报应、惩罚的意思。好，接着我们读到课文最后一个句子是 Twenge cautions that her research does not prove causality and that other factors may be at play. 特温吉提醒啊，他的研究并没有证明因果关系，那其他的因素也许也会造成影响。这边我还学习片语 at play。at play 它有在玩耍、在游戏的意思，可是在这边它是指对什么什么有影响、有起作用，或者是跟什么有密切关联的。那其中这个 play 它是当名词，是指产生影响或是起作用的状态。例如There were many other factors at play in the decision-making process. 这个决策过程啊，有受到许多其他的因素影响。好，那以上是今天的重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Depression. Mark has had depression on and off for almost 10 years now. Adolescent. When a child becomes an adolescent, his body changes in many ways. Anxiety.The girl still suffers from anxiety, but the new medication has eased her symptoms. Inadequate. Many people consume an inadequate amount of fruits and vegetables. Flawed. The Army's flawed plan of attack cost them many lives and ultimately the war. Finding. The scientists' findings confirm that global warming is a significant problem. Caution.We were cautioned to drive home slowly because the roads are slippery.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. Has this article convinced you to spend less time on your phone? Why or why not?
Well, I don't think I'll change my habits because I am not a smartphone fan. I don't really use smartphones that often, and I'm not on social media at all, so no, I don't think I'll be changing my habits.
Well, I will probably spend less time on my phone because I don't really like the things to begin with, and I only spend about 30 seconds on my phone every day anyway, so I can't really use them much less than I already do, and I kind of pine for a time when those infernal things were not around.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.